Yes, people, welcome to the Man United Agenda. And yes, I'm not Mr. B. I'm taller, better looking, and he's had to disappear, I'm afraid. But we've got some fantastic guests tonight, and we'll be talking all things Tuanzebe, Bailey, and Wan-Bissaka. Yes, people, yes. What did you hear from the Man United Agenda? I hope you guys tuned in the previous show at 8:30 with Jay Motti. But now it's all about the late night takeaway. And I'm privileged to be in the hot seat, taking over from Mr. B. He's got arrangements tonight to do with the family and celebrating the Jubilee and all that kind of thing. But I'm taking over. We've got some brilliant guests tonight. And only one of them showed his face, you know. But let's start with you, Rise, TALKMU. Thanks for having me on, man, to the Friday night takeaway. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, all good, bro. Good. Just taking it easy. It's all been about the Jubilee, which is great. There's been some really great
street
stuff.
Parties near you?
Yeah, been street parties. It was a big doing a local park, lighting a beacon and all that jazz. So that was all good.
And to your left or your right, I just want to say welcome to your debut. This is Thomas Mitchell. Thomas, you're from Northern Ireland, right?
Yeah, that's correct.
Do you want to just tell us your name, where you're from, and your Man United story, please?
So I'm Thomas. I'm from Northern Ireland, unfortunately. But I've basically supported Man United as long as I can remember. It was the whole 22 years of my life. I don't remember a period where I didn't support them. Don't remember a period where it was so hard to support them, but I'm still here anyway. It's been a long season. This is probably the first weekend all year that they haven't been able to let us down. Even without a match, they let us down last weekend. Letting go of Ralph, so we just got to get on with it. But we can only look up and look forward and hope for something better next season.
You know, Thomas, considering from Northern Ireland, obviously George Best is associated with Manchester United. Yeah. Do the majority of kids growing up there still support Manchester United?
Sometime in Northern Ireland, you'd be forgiven for thinking there only is two teams, Liverpool and Manchester United.
Okay.
A lot of people, even kids now, I coach a group of kids, and sometime they'll still say, "Oh, I'm George Best," so they'll go for it.
Wow. Because the majority of Northern Ireland players do play for Man United. I mean, we've got the Evans brothers. Liverpool don't seem to represent. They don't sign any Northern Ireland players.
One I can think of at the minute, Connor Bradley. I don't think there's anybody else.
Okay. Anyone else know? Not me. And we had David Healy as well. He's a record goal scorer.
Yeah, Northern Ireland, that's good.
Well, welcome to the show, man. This is your debut. Let's come and represent for all your chaps back home. Down at the bottom left, it's welcome back to our man, Stephen Fletcher. Yes, long time subscriber to the Man United Agenda, and I want to give you a warm welcome back. This ain't your debut. You're well comfortable. You know your position. You know your role. How you doing,
it's
bro?
Good to be back, man. It's good to be back. So for those who don't know me, I've been supporting United since '89. Come from Coventry, so of course I was a United supporter. A bit like Thomas says, you know, it's been difficult these last few years, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, you've got to come from the bottom at the moment, so the only way is up, really. So I'm looking forward to Ten Hag coming in. Been doing a little bit of research on Frankie de Jong tonight, so I'm hopeful that he can turn out to be a positive for us if we do end up getting him and not turn into a Di Maria. So, looking forward to the future.
When you say research, is just research about the transfer or research about him as a player?
Oh, just watch the Netherlands. They absolutely demolished Belgium. They won 4-0 in the Nations League.
And what sort of position was he playing, by the way?
A bit deeper, but he kind of spread out to the left side, and he was dictating the play. He was all over the shop. To be fair, I couldn't really pin down. I think he was playing like deep left side, but he just seemed to pop up everywhere, which isn't a bad thing, really. You know, you think of who he's going to be replacing. I couldn't really give you a Paul Pogba position. I could give you an area of the pitch he likes playing, but yeah, he looked good. He looked good.
Good. Edit Matty, how you doing, man? Welcome to the show. This is your debut. Are you nervous?
No, not really. I'm looking forward to it. Talking all things good and bad about Man United at the moment. Mainly all bad, really. We seem to be a long way off.
What part of the world are you from, and what's your story about Manchester United? I've never heard this from you.
I'm from Birmingham. Man United runs in my family. Parents, grandparents, great-grandparents, all Man United fans. So I grew up in a United stronghold, really.
Wow. There's a few guys that commute from Birmingham. Like we've got Paddy and SHAH that go to home games. It's only 2 hours or something up to Manchester, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you ever go to games?
I've not gone to a game in ages. I think last game I went to was the 7-1 against Roma. Great game.
Oh my gosh. What a game to pick.
Brings back a lot of memories.
It's a long time ago.
Oh, yeah. Too long.
So, guys, that is our panel, our fantastic panel. A couple of debuts, a couple of old timers, TalkMU and Steve. But yeah, TalkMU, do you have any sort of fun and games for us tonight?
Yeah, you know what it rolls there on the Friday Night Takeaway, folks. We always like to play a little game, and I've really got a little soft spot for this spot the ball. Like, I know everybody in the chat loves spot the ball because it's always a good one, and this one is a corker. So you know how it rolls. Check out the image. All you got to do is tell me which one. You've got one guess as well, folks. You know how it goes. As soon as you put your number in the chat, that's your number. So you tell me which one of those numbers is the ball. Okay, and that goes for the panel as well. So think carefully.
Have we just conceded the goal?
I'm not saying anything. You got to work it out, bro. Work it out.
Anyone in the panel know who we're playing against there?
It looks like Southampton.
Swansea, maybe? No, is that Wayne Routledge scoring?
I'm not sure. I know is that Smalling? Is that Smalling yeah,
it looks like Rio, maybe, or Matic. Is that Matic, number 6?
That looks like David Moyes' season. The black collar kind of gives that away.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I never get any of these right.
I'm struggling to see the player. The opposition player sprinting away.
Okay, folks.
I think that might be
right, so why do you have to make it so hard?
We'll come back to that in a little bit. On Monday, you can't say that, bro. With your quiz, everybody's seen a Monday's quiz, and he's asking me how I make it so hard. Whoa,
yeah, but this one is tough. We all struggling.
It is a tough one, but you know what? It's got to be tough.
So is it okay for us to come back later and give our assessment?
Yeah, we'll show it again later in 5 or 10 minutes time or whatever, and we'll have a look at it and see it, and then we'll go through and star who's putting what. I'll do that now actually while you're continuing on Monday. I'm going to star the numbers that I can see.
Okay, I'm going to be the question master tonight, me and Talk, and we're going to ask you guys some meaningful questions about what's going on, because it's a transitional time at Manchester United, as we all know. Players are leaving left, right, and centre, and we just want your assessment, please, guys, on the players that are leaving, especially these three, because Romano's come out today and said that both Tuanzebe and Bailey are to leave. That's 2 centre-backs clearing out, so we're going to be left with maybe 3 if Jones, or maybe 4 if Jones stays. So, and also, there's word is that Man United are ready to release Wan-Bissaka as well. So I'm going to start with you, Steve Fletcher. I'm going to start with you. Steve Fletcher, what is your feeling about, we know people are leaving, but what about Wan-Bissaka, Bailey and Tuanzebe? Do you want to focus on one of them and just give me a view about what you think they've represented at the club and whether it's right to let these players go?
Yeah, for me, I don't think there's any one of these anyone's really going to argue about too much. I think he would have been my number 1 centre back at the club if he could just stay fit. The guy, I just love the fact that every single time he's on the pitch, someone's going to get lifted, and he's going to do some like Cruyff turn somewhere near the 6-yard box and leave someone flattened. So I got a soft spot for Bailly. But yeah, if I had to look at those and say one disappoints me the most or which one to zero in on, it's probably Axel. I look at Axel and I remember him like coming through the academy, and there was just something special about him. Do you know what I mean? He just looked like one of those kind of players who he had everything about him. He was confident. He looked like he could command a back line. He goes out on loan at Villa. They get promotion, and you think, this kid can come back and start doing a job. And we didn't have the best centre backs when he had the chance to come through. So to see him not even get a look in the last season, and there might be a million reasons for that, and then the season before that, he just wasn't really pushing anywhere. He was just, there was no sign, no hide nor hair of him, and no reason for it. So you know, all I can say is that he mustn't have been putting in the work in the training field. But yeah, he's the most disappointing one out of the three of those. AWB, again, there's no real argument there. I think what we're looking for is probably more attacking. And you know, Erik ten Hag, I'm looking at his right back, and he plays this Timber, this lad that they're bringing in. He doesn't just play centre back; he can play the right back position, and he's a strong lad. He's a pacey lad. So Wan-Bissaka just looks. Do you know who he reminds me of? But not as good in terms of control. Faustino Asprilla with the bandily legs that just seem like rubber. Yeah, you know, he just seems like Faustino Asprilla just with no control. So yeah,
so it's called the Spider, Steve.
yeah. But yeah, I honestly, you know, any of these three go or all three of them go, I think it's good for the club just to claim back some of the money.
Question: Do you think it's because I'm on a good point in the previous stream about it seems like we've already made the decision to let Wan-Bissaka go, but Erik ten Hag has probably not had enough time to assess Aaron Wan-Bissaka and whether he can actually work with him. Or do you think this is a decision by Ralph, like a recommendation by Ralph? Do you believe Ralph has actually come up with some names, you know, in terms of?
Yeah, I do. But the thing that puzzles me about it, right, is. Yeah, the only thing I can think is that he must have had a real stinking attitude, but that doesn't come across for me for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. It doesn't strike me as that kind of player. But you know, you don't see the things on the training ground. But what I will say is, if I'm Erik ten Hag and I'm coming in and I know that this management don't spend a lot of money, first thing I do is get a lot of wages off the books, and then I say to them, you know, in the first year you're going to reclaim, you know, possibly 100 million. Something ridiculous like that. So when you reclaim all of this money from all of these wages, I want to put that towards my transfer budget for the following year, because we know what happens with the Glazers. The Glazers have dropped out of the Champions League, so the first thing they'll do is put their hand in their pocket, spend a lot of cash, make the new manager feel welcome, and then the second season leave him high and dry. So I'm hopeful that part of this is Ten Hag trimming the fat with the intention of bringing through some youth. Bring him through, get a spine. That's what United haven't had since Fergie. We haven't had a spine where, you know, you can say, that's my guaranteed centre-back that will, like, forget about run for a brick wall, he'll run for a player. We haven't had that Roy Keane / Paul Scholes, even Michael Carrick, you know, dictator of the midfield. And we haven't had that striker that you can. We've had strikers that are good, but they're all coming out of their twilight, you know, what we're talking, Cavani, Ronaldo, and I can't. Zlatan. You know, all great strikers, but none of them in their prime at that point. So you know, I want an informed prime striker, informed prime midfielder, a defensive midfielder, and then the centre back. And hopefully, that's what he's after.
I just want to make a point in terms of Ten Hag, and I just want to. I'll use one word: habits. So from the way I see this looks like it's based on habits and bad habits from players. Because as Amanda, you remember a saying about when it comes to, like, especially when you remember used to talk about youth players going on the pitch and learning from their mistakes in game. Now that is a big factor of Erik ten Hag. He likes to see players, you know, learn from the mistakes in games, and if they don't, he will then take them away and start to work on them in training, whether it be one-on-one, you know, groups, sessions, whatever, working on an understanding as to why you didn't correct that mistake and why you didn't identify that mistake. And I think that with some of these players, I think Ralph has understood that and he's identified that actually, wait a minute, I already know from the way you keep making these same mistakes. For example, Aaron Wan-Bissaka going to ground at every opportunity when he doesn't really need to go to ground. That is a bad habit to have, in my opinion. You don't always have to go to ground, but it's a comfortable place for him to go to. He's like, yeah, I'm going to go slide it in, bam, you know, spam. So gone to ground, go to ground. So I think there's a bit of that going on here, and I just want to know if everybody else agrees with that.
100%.
Well, Thomas, I'm going to come to you now. I mean, the three players, we've got Bailey, Wan-Bissaka, and Tuanzebe. I mean, out of them three, I think Stephen Fletcher said he's disappointed with Tuanzebe. He's one who's come through the ranks as well. You know, you'd like to see players do well, but maybe injury as well has sort of hindered him because he was at Napoli recently as well and didn't really get that many games. So, what's your feeling on these 3 players? And do you think they're right to let these guys go, especially Wan-Bissaka?
I don't think that you could have had an argument to keep any of them anyway. I just think you can look at Baye and Tuanzebe; they're never available, and the first ability you need is availability when they don't have it. I was really disappointed with Axel. I seen a future club captain in there, even coming through the ranks. He was a captain at youth level whenever I seen him play at a youth tournament over here. So him maybe not making it through was maybe the biggest disappointment there. But he's 24 now, and I just don't think it's ever going to work for him at this stage. Wan-Bissaka, I think he suffers from the same problem that Harry Maguire does, where he just can't adapt to the new system. You can tell that this season we've moved on. Last season we were more of a counter-attacking team. This year, from the first game, we tried to be a bit more possession-based, except for the Leeds game. We sort of tried to build out a bit more. And when it comes to him going forward, there's no point. I think even for Ten Hag, he's just not going to fit into that system. You've got Dallo, who I would even question maybe isn't good enough. You've got Ethan Laird coming back as well, so that's another one. And whoever else he signs, Mazraoui from Ajax is going to Ajax. He's going to Bayern. So we're not going to get him. I think Wan-Bissaka was one that just had to go. Baye, if he could have stayed fit, I seen a partnership there between him and Varane, but both of them are as injury prone as each other, so you're never going to see it.
Wow, it's interesting that both of you said Bailey or Baye, where you say you like him as a player, and if he would have stayed injured, not injury free, you would have said he should be a first team starter. I totally disagree with that. Matty, do you agree with me that Bailey's probably not good enough, despite his injuries and the other two as well?
I've never thought Baye was good enough. He come from Villarreal, which isn't a big team. He come for 30 mil. He's coming. He's always injured. He's never available, and you never know what you're going to get. 1 week he could be 10 out of 10. Next week it could be 1 out of 10. You'd never know what you're going to get with him. And as a defender and in defence, you need to be a solid 7 each week if you're going to be playing for a top team and competing. One of the biggest reasons we've struggled is we've just struggled with our defence inconsistency. Maguire good, Maguire bad. Lindelof good, Lindelof bad. Varane is good games, bad games. All of our defenders have had good and bad games. There's no consistency there, and that's what we've really struggled with, and we've struggled with that for a long, long time. There's no solid foundation on which we've built a defence.
I also like Baye as well, and I think if like Steve says and Thomas says, if we could have keep him fit, right, Eric Baye, it's his confidence on the ball and his ability on the ball for me that would have been a great asset in terms of what Eric Ten Hag is going to plan to do in this building from the back, because that's one of the major parts of his game. So, you know, I think I know what people say about Eric Baye and stuff, but I just love, like I say, his ability on the ball, his confidence on the ball, his tenacity, his aggression. I know sometimes he could be over aggressive, but I think that's something that a good manager, especially when you're playing good football, can easily tame. You can tame that down when you're confident on the ball. And I think it's just such a shame for us. And I believe it's going to be a big loss losing Eric Baye. But like I say, it's the injuries that are the problem.
We signed Bailey on another long-term deal maybe a year or two ago. What's the sense in that when he wasn't even playing?
Well,
Tom,
it's Ed Woodward.
Yeah, go on.
You
think that's down to Woodward?
Yeah, no. Ed Woodward left this club on February 1st. So a lot of the deals that have been handed out are down to Ed Woodward. The fact we didn't sign anybody in January is down to Ed Woodward.
Yeah, 100%.
No, we still really from 10 years of him.
Yeah, he looked at things like you had to give him a contract to keep the asset rather than maybe move the asset on because it's not good enough, get something else in.
But do you think he's deserving at that point when he signed the contract, Bailey? Do you think he was entitled to the contract? Because I thought, wow, if you're signing a new contract, it means, because Bailey came out with a statement at the time saying, yeah, I've had injuries and everything else, but I'm ready to represent now and stand up and fight for my place. So do you think there's a clause in the contract to say he would have been a first team player? Kind of, it's a bit like what happened with Henderson. He signed a new contract. Do you think there's a clause there to say he would be like starting or something like that? Anyone?
I think that's part of the problem we've had is that too many of these players are trying to write into their contracts that they should be starting. For me, no player, it doesn't matter how big you are. I mean, Ronaldo's probably the only one where I think you could get away with it. Should be able to write a clause in that says, I will play X amount of games a season. I think it should be, if you're playing well enough in your training and then you're playing well enough in the games, you'll get games. You don't need it in your contract. If you need it in your contract, then you shouldn't be at United.
So can we just a show of hands? I know we can only see two hands here, but with Bailey, I'm gonna start with Bailey. Do we think Bailey is the right decision to let him go? And I'm gonna say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's unanimous.
Such as I like him, we'll have to, just because of his injury record. Yeah, it's got to move on.
It's very reckless as well. If he's not injured, he's probably going to be suspended. Let's not lie.
Yeah, even though I like Bailey, I wouldn't have even given the last contract.
Yeah. What about Tuanzebe? I mean, what's happened with him? I heard you say, Thomas, that he was a captain, but that's an attribute. I think a captain. I think he's mute. That's the only thing I used to say about him. He seems out of his depth. Whenever I saw him play for the first team, give or take the PSG game, I know people are going to bring that up, but I always felt that he was, he wasn't going to lead the line. For example, he was going to be led. Do you want to think of that? But
I think
Thomas?
whenever he was in the youth team, I think it's easier to lead whenever you're used to the players, and he's coming to the first team and he's got a captain around him, probably a vice captain, and players that he knows that he's probably fighting to take their place in the team. He's probably more focused on getting the shirt off them to get into the team rather than leading them. He doesn't want to overstep the line because he did come across as very nervous. And even whenever he was at Villa, when they got the season they were promoted, I thought it was the same. Like, as you say, was very mute. But I think that might be something he would have grew into. He was only 22, even when he played that PSG game, and he was phenomenal that night. But I think he got injured the next week, and we didn't see him for the rest of the season. So there's not much you can do with him. Again, availability is not a thing with him.
TALKMU, anything to add on Tuanzebe? He's one of our own. You love your homegrown players, don't you?
I think we've lost him, haven't we?
Yeah, okay. He's scared to answer that one. Anyone else want to add anything to Tuanzebe? Because I think he was a promising player. That game against, obviously, PSG, that stands out to me. And I thought, my brother, for example, loves him. But didn't work out. I think by now you should know whether you're going to make it or not, or whether you're going to be a first-team starter. He's 24. And I think he's been given enough time to prove it.
I'd agree. If you're 24 years old, been out on loan a couple of times now, and still not breaking into the starting 11, it's not going to happen for you.
I think we should just move Tuanzebe on colour losses and give his place to Ted and Mengi, because I think there's something really special there if he can stay fit, because he's had injury problems as well.
I like Mengi, but I think Mengi needs another loan. He's still a very young player. You can't bring him back into this team. You let him go out on loan again. Another season experience, say back at Birmingham City in the Championship, and then look to integrate him slowly after that.
I'd like to see.
I think the same could be said for sorry, Thomas, for young Garner as well, because what we've got to have here from Erik ten Hag is he's got to get off to the best possible start. Whether I want to say the best possible start, what I mean is not in terms of results. I mean in terms of performances, attitude, desire, work rate, everything else. We have players in there to set the standard right from the off, and I think young James Garner, now he's helped Forest get up. I think he deserves to actually just stay with them for next season. I think that would be an absolutely brilliant place for him to stay, to learn the rigors of the Premier League.
Do you know what? I thought the same thing, but someone in the comments on one of the last streams said something that actually resonated with me, which is not Forest this season. The way that they've played isn't how they're going to play when they're in the Premier League. So they suit Jimmy Garner's style now, but they're going to have to be you never know, they might surprise us, but I think they're going to be a lot more defensive, which might play into Jimmy's hands, but might actually make him look a lot less, what's the word I'm looking for? A lot less functional. He's not be as productive.
I understand what you're saying, and whoever said it, I can understand why they would say that. But having said that, you've got to look at how they've done what they've done at Forest in the short space of time that they've done it, and I think that'll be a huge risk from Steve Cooper in it. I think it'd be a huge risk for him to totally revert to a out and out defensive style, especially because there's going to be games in the Premier League where he's going to be more than confident. I think he may switch it up. There's no two ways about that. But I think there'll be a lot of games where he'll be more than confident that he can play his game and actually go out and get a result. Against some of the teams in the league.
I mean, I definitely agree with you. I think alone is the best way for it because you want to give Jimmy as many games as you can give him. There's no point bringing someone back off loan and stick him on the bench for to come on for sub appearances and do a Donny van de Beek. You're better off sending them out on loan and giving them a good half a season, full season if you can get it.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garner, we're going to come on to him because we're going to talk about the remaining players, the players coming back in. But the final thing we're going to do in this subject here, we're going to talk about Wan-Bissaka and why he doesn't fit into the squad. So the key questions I'm going to be asking all of you guys now is, has Eric got replacements in mind already? Talking about Timber maybe. People say he's a centre-back, but he could play right-back as well. Why do you feel he doesn't fit in? What do you think this is a handover from Ralph because he doesn't get opportunity to play in the pre-season or have an assessment from the new manager in the pre-season either? And what does Eric require in a right back? Over to you, Tom. So I'll let you start because you were talking about the Moroccan right back at Ajax. So what do you think Eric requires in a right back, and why doesn't our boy Wan-Bissaka fit in?
It seems to like with his Ajax team, he seems to like having his width coming from his right back. He seems to like his back four turns into a back three, with his left full back becoming in, and then they'll shuffle across. Then he'll have his right back powering forward, his front three come nice and narrow, and Mazraoui's got a great cross on him. Sometimes he can even get a shot in there. You ain't getting that from Wan-Bissaka. You're probably going to be chasing the ball more than you're going to be receiving it. I think he might have a replacement in mind. The only thing, as you mentioned, Timber is a centre back. I'm not sure what he'd be like going forward. I've never seen him maraud forward. I think if you were looking for somebody like that, maybe Jules Koundé from Sevilla might be your man for that. I don't think we linked him at all. I know we were once upon a time, but we're definitely not at the minute. I've not seen anything. You could get that from Ethan Laird, and you might get that from Dalot, but will you get it to the quality that we need to get where we want to be? I don't know.
Interesting that. Anyone else come to you, Matty, about Ajax, the system they play, and what Eric is looking for, and why he would let Wan-Bissaka go? Is it because he can't get forward in the final third, not giving the quality there? What do you reckon?
Simple. Wan-Bissaka doesn't have the quality on the offensive level, and if you watch Ajax play through Mazraoui, launching the long passes, tucking inside, becoming like an inverted midfielder for Ajax, and that Wan-Bissaka is not going to do any of that. Wan-Bissaka is good defensively. Offensively, he offers nothing. So I can see why he wants to get rid of him. And I think we're looking at Timber. I think it's actually looking at Timber to come in as a right back rather than as a centre back, because Timber can do all that progressive passing, bring the ball out of defence, take it forward, start attacks and that. I think that's why we're looking to bring him in, and also bring in Torres as a centre back to go alongside Varane.
But TALKMU, don't you think that Eric Ten Hag is a head coach and a good coach? Can he coach Wan-Bissaka at his age to develop those sort of attributes?
Again, I'll go back to the point I made before, which is getting up to the best possible start. And obviously, it's a key role for Eric Ten Hag, exactly what Thomas just pointed out, in terms of how he wants to play. The three at the back, the left back, right back, getting out of the pitch and providing, even dropping in. So, is he gonna have that kind of time? And does he believe? Again, this is where I think the communication between Ralph and Ten Hag comes into play, because, again, I'm going back to that word habits. This is about habits. If you, as a coach and what you've coached, if you see bad habits in a player that they're really comfortable with, it's going to be a real task. If you've got loads of time, you can maybe iron them out. But I just don't see that Eric Ten Hag will have the time or patience to work with Wan-Bissaka, to be fair, in those forward attributes that he's lacking in.
So it's just an issue of having the time to do it. So you don't think he's uncoachable. Steve, what do you reckon about Wan-Bissaka? Could he be coached maybe to become the player that Eric might desire?
Oh, short answer's no. I think, for me, the thing about, I think Talk touched on it earlier, the thing about Wan-Bissaka that everyone raves about is one of the things that I actually can't stand about him, which is always getting that last-ditch tackle in. I think if your positioning's better, you don't need to do that. I mean, going forward, he gets a bad rep, but he's actually, for a right back in the Premier League, he's not exactly up there with the best of them, but he's not languishing with the worst of them either. But yeah, Timber was playing in the right back position for the final game they played against PSV, which shows you that he trusts him. And I think they went on to win that one 5-0, didn't they? So he's obviously a player that Ten Hag likes. I think for me, Dalot, I think at United, because we haven't had a decent right back since Gary Neville. I think we're all kind of looking at our right backs as if they're all amazing in one way, shape, or form. But the reality is they're all quite poor by our standards, very, very poor by our standards. If Dennis Irwin was still playing, I'd take Dennis Irwin all day long in right back. But yeah, Wan-Bissaka, I don't think he's not coachable. I think that the time it takes to coach him for what's going to be needed, I don't think it's worth it. I think get as much money as you can for him. Get the guy off the wage books and let him go do his career elsewhere. Newcastle, maybe.
That's unanimous from me. Then I'm down with Wan-Bissaka going. I did enjoy him a couple of seasons ago, but yeah, I thought he could be coached to be a bit better going forward, and I just don't think he's got in the locker. What do you guys think? Is that unanimous? Is that a big no-no from everyone else?
Yeah, I think we should lost. Thank Palace.
TalkMU. Yes, go ahead. Yeah, I was going to say do the spot.
Yeah, okay, folks. So we'll just take that comment down. I think on Monday got the comment? No.
Yeah, I'll do that now.
We'll set the banner down as well. Okay, folks, there you go. Somebody said before they can't even see the numbers. Bro, you need to go to Specsavers. Right. There's 5 numbers there. All you got to do is tell me which one of those numbers is the ball. So have we heard anyone from now? It's time for you guys on the panel to give me a number. I'm
torn. For me, it looks like the guy's done a little dink, and I'm torn between 1 and 2, but I'm going to go with 1.
Okay. Matty?
I think it's 5. 5 or 3, I would say. It looks like it's gone to the corner, maybe.
I'm going to go 5.
Okay.
I think 5.
Mm-hmm.
So, Thomas, you're saying
5.
5? Okay. Steve said.
I went with 1 in the end.
Okay. Monday?
Tough one, because the guy's running away he knows it's gone in. Keepers looks deflated. The defender's looking at Matic to say what's going on. Matic should turn his head. It's a tough one. I'm going to have to go with 2. I think it could be 2.
Okay.
Down the middle.
Got some more numbers. Let me just star these numbers here that I can see in the chat. I'll actually show them whilst we're doing it. So CeeLo's saying 4. Box is saying 4. Emma's saying 2. Steve H is saying 2. Stumpy Candletop, I love that name. He's saying number 3. We had our Pat from Dublin who told us how to say this name, and I forgot one day.
Don't ask me. I said Ewan. Any help here? Thomas, give us a hand here with this name.
Owen,
that's it.
That's Owen. Right. Yeah. Okay, so Owen's saying 4. Sorry. Brush is saying 3. Suze, big up Suze in the chat. Number 3 as well. So interesting. Well, I will reveal all just before the end of the show, folks. Stay tuned.
I'm just going to go through some quick comments because a lot of people commenting in the show about the first topic that we discussed about the players leaving. Brush is saying he's made of biscuits. Bless him. That could have even been Tuanzebe or Bailey, couldn't it? This rate. Brush is also saying with Axel, we always had that game against PSG, which I look back on fondly. I want to say hi to Reese, Amateur Football. He says, evening, gents. Go and check out his channel. Brilliant. Brush is saying, at box, I'd move Tellez and bring in Fernandez. Has anyone seen Fernandez left back? Anyone seen him play?
Yeah, I've watched him in the youth setup for a season or 2 now. Absolute belter of a player. When he comes through, people are going to be impressed. I hope I'm not going to overhype him, but he's looking a real talent.
He's got a crack.
Any other scout reports? Thomas, you got a scout report on Fernandez?
From what I've seen of him, he's actually got a really good pass on him for a left back. And in terms of even a cross, unbelievable. Kind of reminds me a little bit of what we thought we were getting from Tellez when we signed him from Porto.
Yeah.
Someone who's really good. He could probably, you know, the way they say Trent could play in midfield. I feel like Fernandez possibly could do that as well. From what I've seen of him, he looks very promising. Now, if you've got somebody out wide who's able to switch it across and you can match that up on the other side, you could have something really special there. I really like the look of him so far.
Yeah, he chips in with a goal every now and again, doesn't he?
He's got a handful, I think, for the youth setup this year. The 23 season.
Matthew, what do you think about the step up from under 23s or under 18s to first team? Do you think Fernandez could get a look in?
Yeah, we can definitely get a look in. I mean, he's only got Alex Tellez and Luke Shaw. I mean, it's not exactly world-class competition in front of him, is it? Luke Shaw's been here, 8 years, and in total, he's probably had one good year here. I hear everybody sit there and talk about, Roberto Carlos. Listen, the only Roberto Carlos is the fat one that's playing up in Northampton now. That's it. No, it ain't the prime Roberto Carlos. That's for damn sure. No,
Going back to the comments, go on, Matty.
Alex Tellez, come in, flattered to deceive. What did we buy him for? He can't defend. Everybody talked him up at attacking. I've not seen nothing special from him attacking wise. I'm disappointed with them both. They both got to go.
Yeah, I agree.
I like Tellez.
I think Tellez has got. I think Tellez has. I think there is a player there, but I get what Matt is saying. And one of the things that really annoyed me last season was a lot of the time where we were putting the crosses in from. You're like scratching your head. You're like, why do you keep putting crosses in from there? And the lack of overlaps, getting in behind and committing. Do you know, it was absolute. It was real dire. But I do think with Alex Tellez and Dalot, let's have it right, folks. These are our only options at this moment in time. Luke Shaw as well, yeah, fitness issues, etc. I believe. So you know what, we'll have to just wait and see what Erik ten Hag, and his coaching staff can do with these kids.
Sure. Well, let's not forget. Sorry, OMONDI, but let's not forget that Daley Blind is the one that's playing that left back position.
Yes,
and he is absolutely flying. And when he was with us, people didn't think much of it. I mean, I personally did. I thought tactically he was a genius. But yeah, if he can do that with Daley Blind, and he ain't got the pace, but he's got the desire and he's got the touch. So hopefully, I think the thing for Tellez, I think the only lifeline he's got is that we're looking at getting a target man, like a tall target man. So, you want someone who can whip a ball in. But I think Matthew's hit the nail on the head, which is, although he's supposed to be this great deliverer of the ball, we're just not seeing it. He's flattered to deceive.
Also, I just want to some of you were saying there, Steve, there's also have to bear in mind that also OMONDI has touched on this a few times about when it comes to pace, etc. in certain positions. Don't necessarily always need loads of pace. It's about your positioning. And again, with Ten Hag, the way they plays and understanding your position and using the space that's around you cleverly, wisely, and not holding onto the ball too long when you don't need to. That was another problem we would see with our team last season. Players holding onto the ball when they don't even need to hold onto the ball. I mean, 2, 3, 4 touches, inviting pressure.
I think that all comes back to this this thing about clicks, though, doesn't it? It seemed to me like there was people that just didn't want to pass to each other, and I know, Mason Greenwood and Marcus Rashford. I can think back to, was it the Aston Villa game where both of them had an opportunity to square the ball for a tap in, and both of them took the shot on. That was indicative of our entire season, where there was, you were screaming at the TV, just play it wide, and someone just takes on the worldie instead. That was just all up and down last season.
Yeah, that is.
So going back to the comments, Sue saying after Ralph's result tonight, he must have won with Austria. Says a lot about our players. Disgrace ain't the word. St. Jim Ratcliffe, please get our club back. Make it great again from these cretins. So just really upset. Boxer saying Ten Hag has probably assessed type of player, Wan-Bissaka himself. I doubt Ten Hag would take too much in store for Ranić. Emma's saying Ten Hag probably asked the players if some would want to leave. That's a good good point, actually. Sue's saying Wan-Bissaka is a good person, but not good enough for Man United to see who Ten Hag thinks can help him or not. Brush is saying, agreeing with you, Fletch, said, facts, Fletch. Aspiring is the key. All good teams are built on solid defense and midfield. Just want to say hi to SHAH as well. SHAH saying, agree, Bailey would have been a great fit. Him and Varane would have been awesome partnership to compete with the top four. Shame about Eric Bailey. And we'll come to everyone else later. But yeah, some really good comments there. Bath Time as well is in house. And Case Slater is here as well. This is Fernandez we're speaking of. Yes, it is. And shout out to the members. Yeah, indeed. That's true. So guys, just going to go through. So I'm going to start with the players that we know are probably going to be leaving. Pogba's gone. Cavani, Lingard, Mata, Matic, Lee Grant, Henderson, Bailey, Tuanzebe, Wan-Bissaka, Martial's ? Greenwood, Jones, and the pre-season preload, which I'm going to come to you, Fletch. You want to talk about the pre-season preload and just let people know who that is?
He's at it again, isn't he? He was bagging in his last game for was it Flamengo or whatever they are, but he's Andreas Pereira, right? He's a player that I can still remember going to watch under Louis van Gaal. I think it was Ipswich, and he bagged like a 25-yard free kick to rescue the game because it was so boring, and we won 1-0. And I remember turning to my little brother and saying to him, "He's going to be a right player, he is." And it feels like every season I'm saying the same thing. I mean, I nearly, part of me needs him to leave the club for my own sanity, because he always gets me going in pre-season, and I'm like, look, he's got it. He just needs, he needs the right manager. He doesn't. He just needs a different team. If we can put him out in part of that Nunes deal, then let's do it, because I just think Man United's too big a beast for him. I think he's got a bit of the skill. He's got some of the finished product. He just doesn't do it enough, and the football intelligence just isn't there. So yeah, it's a shame, because, like I say, I always thought there was a player there, but my God, the lad just, if we could bottle his juju from pre-season, you've got a world-class player every year.
That volley against Brentford last year in pre-season was unbelievable.
That's what I mean. You can go back to his highlight reel and look at the games and go, when was that? And you won't remember, because it's all pre-season games.
Yeah, exactly. I remember him.
So Bath saying he quite likes Pereira. Thomas, what do you think about Pereira and some of these other players that are leaving? Anyone break your heart?
If it had been a couple of years ago, Pereira, then yeah, he definitely would have been a heartbreaker, because I remember him coming through the academy. I thought he was going to be the next big thing. It just didn't work out that way. In terms of other players leaving, there's none of them really that you're going to say I'm going to miss them. You could maybe argue Juan Mata, but we were looking to get rid of him last year, so we can't say this year we're not. But he's probably the only one that really cared. There's most of them, I would hold the door open for them.
Okay, Matty, do you agree with him that there's no one on that list that you really care about?
No, not really.
I don't think they care about us, so why should we care about them?
The only player Rob misses Mata, because he gave us all out on the pitch. He just didn't have the team around him. All the others, you can question their attitude and whether they actually wanted to be here. It's one thing being a football, it's another thing playing for Man United. Most players dream of playing for Man United. These have got the privilege of it, and it's like they're not interested.
I thought Lingard would have understood that, just being a United lad, but it didn't look like it at the end.
He's the biggest disappointment. He's a local lad. He's come to the youth academy. He should know more than most of these other players what it means to play for Man United.
But what does it mean to play for Man United? Can we just elaborate on that? I mean, because I hear people saying all the time, we're the biggest club in the world, we're Man United. What does it mean to play for Man United? Should every players be honoured to play for us?
Yeah,
ever have played for United?
It's a pinnacle of people's career. I mean, let's be real with ourselves. The only thing you go and hire is Real Madrid. You go anywhere else, and it's a sidestep at best. So I don't understand how we've gone from this club that you can just go and pick who you want to a club where we're having to persuade people to come to us. I mean, Frankie de Jong, as much as people are going to say, he should want to come to us, you can understand that slightly, because Barca's a big club, right? and he was already there. He likes what, and let's be honest, there's sun there, and he knows Britain's not going to give him that sunshine. But for anyone else coming to the club, we should be their ceiling. And if not us, then what Ronaldo did, he come to us, and the next step was Real Madrid. That should be it.
TalkMU, do you agree with that? I think because you always say that we're the biggest club in the world and that kind of thing. But right now we haven't got Champions League football, so are we that attractive? Or we've got like we were saying with Frankie De Jong and maybe even Nunes and all these they're delaying and stalling. If that's the case, that we're such a great club, shouldn't players just drop everything and say, no, I'm coming straight away?
Well, you know what, the motto, youth, courage, greatness. That's what we are, Manchester United. And let's look at this from this angle. It's a scary thought for any player to go to a giant that has fallen over, and that's what we are. They've got to ask themselves the question: have I got what it takes to go to this huge, special club? Can I go there and be what is going to help bring the club back to the top? So I believe a lot of players look at this club and think, well, no, I don't believe that. I don't think that they've got the self-confidence. The players that will come along for the wage packet, the ones at the end of their careers, they're just going to come along because it's the wage packet. They know they're not going to play that many games, i.e. Cavani, etc. It's just a cash in. But the younger players, that's a serious question they have to ask themselves. And I think that's, when you're looking at other teams like a Man City or a Liverpool, they're not as, in my opinion, not as big as Man United. Some people will argue with that, but they just aren't. So it's easy for them to pick them because they're, as we would say, flying. They know they're going to go in there. It's going to be easy for them. You know what I mean? So I think there's a lot of that at play here when it comes to Man United. And I think we've still got a lot of pulling power. Let's not kid ourselves. We're not, we haven't turned into Oxfam or something. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? We have still got a lot of pulling power, and I think we will see that in this window now when we actually see the deals that do get put over the line. And one thing's for certain, because I did say earlier in the stream in the chat that it's going to be, let's be real, it's going to be 3 windows before Erik ten Hag can finally have a team that he can actually go and actually challenge and put pressure on. I'm not saying go and win, season in, season out, but actually put pressure on Manchester City and on Liverpool and possibly Chelsea, considering, well, when we see how their transfer season goes and how their new ownership sort of beds in and etc. So I think we have got a little bit of time to be patient on that one, but I do believe we can still pull some decent players.
It's interesting. All right, so guys, 12 players probably leaving the club, and some of them on big wage like Pogba, Martial could be leaving as well. So how do we fill the gaps? Because we got De Gea. It looks like he's be staying. If we just forget about the goalkeeper, let's look at the defense now. I'm just going to name players. You can add some if you throw them out there, if you think they're still going to be available. Lindelof, Maguire, and Varane, the centre backs. It's only 3. Jones, granted Jones will go. At right back, we've only got Dalot if Wan-Bissaka's leaving. And then we've got 2 left backs in Shaw and Tellez. So where do we need to strengthen? So can you just give me a number of players that we need to strengthen? What position? Is it the right back, centre back? Would you get rid of a left back and bring their left back in? Or would you bring in a youth player? So I'm going to start with you, Thomas. With the defence, with what we've got, we're down to the bare bones. What would be your formula to sort out this defence? How many players do we need to sign or bring up for the youths?
Well, I think the way we're linked at the minute with Timber and Torres, I think if you brought them 2 in, that's a really good start. And we were talking earlier about youth courage, greatness. This is our chance now to show what our youth academy is really made of. If we can push some players in there, and there's certainly some defenders down in that youth academy that are more than good enough that maybe could make the step up. Definitely not first choice, but if this is the beauty of having the Europa League. The one good thing about it, you can force it. You can get them players out there and get something out of them. A European night at Old Trafford, regardless of the competition, is still massive. It's a big chance for them to prove themselves. But realistically, I think for signings, I think if we sign 2, Torres and Timber, a left-footed centre-back and Timber, then I think we're going in the right direction there. If you're going to be relying on Lindelof, Maguire and Varane, you're probably only going to have Lindelof and Maguire because Varane is going to be injured at stages next season.
Apparently, Varane got injured tonight again, once again. Matty, what do you think? Do you agree with Thomas about 2 defenders coming in a versatile Timber and Pau Torres, who can play who's left-footed?
Yeah, them two come in. Fernandez comes in at left back, and bring Ethan Laird back for right back. Give that a competition. It'll give us good squad depth in defence. It's an improvement on what we have, and it's a starting block for Eric.
That's a good shout. It's a good shout about bringing the youngsters through as well, especially Laird, who's had a bit of a poor performance at Bournemouth, but at Swansea, he had a good run of games, didn't he? So, Steve, what do you reckon about that? How many defenders will you bring in if you're in charge right now?
I don't think the Glazers would front for what I'd be buying. I'll be going down that Pep Guardiola spending $500 million. But no, I think if we can get a good right back in, I'd do what Matty says and bring Ethan Laird back in, even if it's just like to start slowly easing him into the starting lineup, because he's got some tricks on him. He's a good little player. Pau Torres, I'm not convinced. I think someone likened him to a Lindelof, and I do. I see it, but at the same time, we're short on numbers, and Varane's probably not going to play many games. So if you can do it and do it at a good price and get that one through, I think Donny van der Beek comes back in. Hopefully, he's a different player under Ten Hag, because he's got someone there that knows him, and if Frankie de Jong comes in as well, he's got someone there that he's already linked up with. So maybe that can reinvigorate his career. But I'm not. I'll be honest. I'm not 100% convinced by Donny van der Beek. But yeah, I think Dylan Levitt's just been given another year on his contract. So do you bring him back? Because if you put him back out on loan, you're almost saying that he's never going to get a game. And I think he's a real quality player. He is. I think he's a Lash United player. If you look back, he's probably still the Lash United player to get over 100 passes and have above a 90% passing average. When we played, I forget who we played it in the Europa. I think it was actually when Ollie played loads of youth. So for me, the only other thing, and I think this is one that people haven't been speaking about, but I'd love for this guy to come in, is Anthony. Anthony's a quality player. He's a real. He's one of those players that we always used to have on the wings. Where you were watching and you were excited as soon as he got the ball. How Ronaldo was when Ronaldo first started doing his tricks and coming in and making people sit on the backsides. But yeah, and then obviously Nunes is one that they're interested in. Personally, I think that there's other options I would have took. I would have loved that Alvarez that's just gone to Man City, but it is what it is there. So I suppose that after that, he's probably the next one in the market that you could go for. So yeah, I think we need a lot of players. I'm just really worried that the Glazers aren't going to pump for that many. You heard their quote. They think we need 3 or 4 players before we're challenging. They are absolute batshit. Sorry to say it, but 3 or 4 players to be challenging the Carabao Cup.
Talk MU. So we're covering defenders. How many defenders do you think you need? And let's lead us off into the midfield, because in midfield we've only got Fred, Bruno, Donny, Scott, Hannibal, and Garner possibly. So defenders. How many defenders do we need? And going into midfield, if we're playing the midfield 3, for example.
Oh, defenders.
Don't say Fish, because I know you love Will Fish.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, bring in, if we can get Torres. Bring in Torres. Also, the young guy Carmo. David Carmo as well. I do believe we need something solid at right back. Somebody who's going to actually be able to provide what Ten Hag's looking for, because we're going to have one strong side. For Ajax, it was usually, I think it was the left side, but they were the strongest. But then you still need somebody on the other side to balance that up, who's still going to pose a threat and not just going to be a mannequin standing out there for the sake of it. So that's what I would say on that, and definitely give young Will Fish a go. The guy's a quality defender. Honestly, he's brilliant. I know he's he's been out on loan at Stockport County and everything, but I think he's got some attributes to his game that are he just can't coach. He's got a natural ability. And I'm not the only one who said that. I've seen some big channels also giving this guy, the credit also for a shout to be brought in. In terms of the midfield, I mean, look, that's where a lot of people would say a lot of our problems have come from. Obviously, the Frankie de Jong, it's going to turn into a circus, that we know it is. So I'll say the Frankie de Jong circus before anybody else takes it. Right, the Frankie de Jong circus. If we can get that deal done, and he links up with Donny van der Beek, and we've got Bruno Fernandes. I mean, come on, you know that's going to be great.
So just one midfielder then, TalkMU.
So I mean.
So if we get Frankie de Jong, you'll be happy. That would be your midfield. You have about 7 players there: Garner, Hannibal, Donny, Scott, Bruno, and Fred.
Well, yeah.
So
well,
one midfielder and two defenders. Yeah.
Yeah, and a right back, a quality right back.
Okay, so come on to you, Thomas. You said your defenders, midfielders. We've only got 6, and Garner, Hannibal, youngsters. Donny, Scott, Bruno, Fred. Who are you adding to that? How many players would you add to that?
I think midfield might be one of our biggest weaknesses because at times last season we're like a donut. We're all right out round, but in the middle there's absolutely nothing. We definitely need a good 6, a good deep line playmaker. We need Michael Carrick. That's what we need. I would have loved Tchouaméni. Looks like that ain't going to happen. He's got Liverpool and Real Madrid sniffing around him, so I think we can forget about that one. I would take Ruben Neves, but they're 2 very different players. If Wilfred Ndidi could have better fitness, I think he would be okay. I've not actually seen too much in terms of 6s that we've been linked to as much lately, but that's definitely somewhere we need to work on. And then just another box-to-box midfielder to free Bruno up that wee bit more. I think we build our midfield around Bruno Fernandes, though, for sure.
So that's 3 midfielders you'd have in then?
I think he could go for free, yeah.
Yeah? Woo, that's a lot. Matty, do you agree with that? 3 midfielders? And you want to throw out any names? Anyone you fancy?
Definitely. I'd take Ruben Neves all day long. Everyone's got this perception we need a destroyer in midfield. We don't. All we need is somebody who can recycle the ball quickly from defence into attack. One of our biggest problems is how slow we are getting that ball forward. And it allows teams to recover. And if you watch all the great teams, even so they've got a destroyer in there, it's how the team press as a unit to win the ball back very high up the pitch. So if we can get Ruben Neves in there, along with Frankie de Jong and Bruno Fernandes, that midfield is good enough to match up to any midfield in England and in Europe. And it will be good at holding the ball, holding possession, and just orchestrating and moving our opposition team around and working them out and creating openings and gaps to which we can play through.
Agreed.
So you're saying 2 midfielders, that would be Neves and Frankie de Jong, and you'll be happy with that? You think it would be competitive?
Yeah.
Well, good shout. Good shout. I like that. Over to you, Steve.
So yeah,
how many midfielders you bring in? Remember, you're in charge now, Steve. So
I don't think that anyone, there's much more from what the lads have said. I mean, the Michael Carrick shout is a definite one, but Ruben Neves, although he's never going to be on the levels of Carrick, he's going to give you enough to get us to the next stage. De Jong, from what I've seen of him, I'll be honest, De Jong's one of those players where the last time I really took note of him was when he was playing for Ajax. And he was a good player then. I think looking at Barcelona's season since he's joined, they haven't exactly been phenomenal. But like I said about Donny van der Beek coming in with Erik ten Hag, it might be a different story because he knows how to get a tune out of them. But yeah, I don't think we need to go much more than that. I think Ruben Neves, Frankie de Jong, and then hopefully with what we've already got, we know we've got Dylan Levitt, we know we've got Jimmy Garner. These are players which we could just supplement the squad with, try and keep everything ticking over until we get to the next window, really. But yeah, Tchouaméni would have been a great shout, but I don't think we've got a part to play in that. I don't think he's going to come to us.
He's going Madrid.
Yeah, he's nailed on, isn't he? But yeah, I don't think there's much more other than that. I think the one that I worry about at the moment, because he's making noises, is Facundo Pellistri. So I still don't think he's ready to come in and play every game, but I think he thinks he's at that stage, and I think he's probably looking for where he can go and play first team football.
So how many players is that then, roughly, do you think would be suitable in midfield?
So I think for midfield, we need 2. I think we need 2 centre back. And I think we need one attacking player but I think we're probably going to end up with 2.
So yeah, because it has been mentioned before. Ralph said we needed 2 as well, 2 forwards, so-called forwards going forward. Because Ronaldo is one who we relied on for goals last season. The others didn't really contribute that much, unfortunately. I don't know why that was. Maybe you guys got the answers to that. So we had Ronaldo, we've got Rashford, Ahmad. I'm gonna throw him in. He was on loan at Rangers. They got to the final, but he didn't really play that many games. Sancho, Elanga. I'm throwing in Shawshire. And Garnacho, who's a promising guy who's played for the senior Argentinian team recently, was in the squad and played for the under-20s the other day. So that's not many. We're a bit short there. So that's why I reckon 2 players. I'm going to start with you, Stephen, again, with the forwards. You talk about Anthony as well. He's got a lot of tricks, you said, but has he got the finishing product? And he obviously is known to Ten Hag. So how many forwards, when I say forwards, that could be a winger or a centre forward. How many forwards do you think we need? And can you name anyone that catches your eye?
So yeah, I've already mentioned Anthony, and I think Anthony would link up great with the likes of Ronaldo. And I think next season we're going to see a lot of Anthony Elanga still, and probably going to hopefully see a little bit of a resurgence from Rashford. But I think if you look at us when we've been at our best, we've always had a lot of strikers. 99 season we had 6 if you count Paul Scholes and Ryan Giggs. So I think personally, I think we could get away with 1, because I think strikers you're always paying a ridiculous amount of money, and I don't think that's going to happen with the Glazers. So I think you bring in Ahmad, bring him back to be a spare player, start blooding in Garnacho. Bring in Anthony, and I think they're already married to Nunes. So if you bring both of those in, I think that does it. I think I'm just reading what Bathtime's saying. I agree with him. I don't want the likes of Greenwood back in the squad. I don't care what angle they're trying to spin on it. I don't want someone like that back in the squad. So with that in mind, you've got Nunes, who bagged, what was it, 32 goals last season? 32 goals in 38 games, something like that.
Something like that. Yeah, it's 30 plus.
And I tell you what I do like about him, as much as I've not exactly made out like I like him, is he scores with both feet and he scores with his head. And aside from Ronaldo, who have got that we can say that about? Rashford don't go for headers. Anthony Elanga, I think the only header I've seen him score is the one he set up for himself.
Yeah, it's a debut goal.
Yeah. So that's 2. That's 2. So but
so two forwards.
2 forwards for me. Yeah.
Okay. Coming to you, Thomas. What do you reckon in the forward positions? Does Ronaldo need that backup? How many guys are you going for?
We definitely need a backup striker. There's no way Ronaldo can play every week. We've seen him struggle at times last season as well. I don't know where Cavani was last season, but we expected him to be the backup. I think Rashford will find his feet again on the wing. The only thing is then you move Sancho to the right. I know we signed him to play on the right, but I think he is better on the left coming in. Crossing wise, I'm not sure he's really got it. Although the way we play, we'll play under Ten Hag with a wider front line. I think he might be okay there. But I think you could get away with 1, but I think we need 2.
Any names?
Darwin Nunes.
Because people say Nunes. We discussed him earlier. Halftime shouting him out as well. But
you could 1 I would go for as well. Might be completely the wrong answer. I see Nkunku's name being mentioned there as well. Another good one. One that you could get away with as well, I think, is Tammy Abraham if you get him cheap. I think that you could get something out of him. I didn't think it before when I seen him at Chelsea, but seeing what he done this year under Jose, I thought it was phenomenal at times. I think if you had him coming in and off the bench, playing after Ronaldo, I think he might well be perfect.
Okay, Matty, I'm going to finish off with you with forwards. How many forwards do we need and why? What sort of positions?
I think we need 3. We need 1 for the right wing. We need a backup for Ronaldo, and I'd go for 1 utility player that can play essentially across front 3. So for me, I'd have Anthony and Nkunku, and I'm going to put an outside shout here. Gerard Moreno from Villarreal. I think he's a very underrated forward. Play right wing, he can play through the middle, quick, mobile, and he's a goal scorer. I know there's a lot of hype around Nunes, but he's had 1 good season in his entire career. He's outperformed his XG. is that sustainable, especially stepping up to the Premier League? I'm not so sure. And for the price being touted, I'd rather take a miss on him and just go someone else.
Okay. Just to add, like Liverpool apparently in the market for Nunes now, and they're saying that they can transform him into a world-class player. So they see a lot of potential in him. They played against Liverpool in the Champions League, as did Ajax this season. So there's the evidence there to see it for the eye test for their own eyes, Eric and Klopp. So he's really sought after. I mean, there is something there, regardless of the goals that he's only scored for Benfica and hasn't many goals prior to that. I think he's obviously been named for a reason. He's been on our radar for over a season now. We've been watching him. So that's an interesting signing as well. And I do agree with you guys in this one that we do need 2 strikers minimum. When I say strikers, forgive me, I mean forwards. TALKMU, you around? So about the forwards?
Yeah, I just want to throw a name in here. And obviously for me, out of all the names, even Nunes and Nkunku, for me, I think this kid is really, really top draw, and he can play on numerous positions. But the other name, I think that we should most definitely just be getting the deal done like tomorrow, and I'm going to make Vaughan smile. I know I am. Is Richarlison, because we're going to need a player who's got an edge, who's got that swagger. We have not got any. You tell me, apart from Ronaldo, who's got swagger at Man United right now? And that is what Richarlison will bring you. He's got that swagger. He's got that edge. He's got that attitude. You know, we're gonna need a player like that to help out Ronaldo. We really are. And for me, I think Richarlison would be an absolute. I think he'd be a top player for us. I really do. I think he's got a lot of abilities, and I think he's highly underrated. He's been playing at Everton for,
You know what happens there, though, mate? He's seen what he's like when it comes to coach driving. The guy don't turn up, so
yeah. Don't bank on Richarlison.
The wrong one.
Thomas, I saw you frowning there when Richarlison's name was mentioned.
Yeah,
You're not a fan.
I don't think I could warm them. No, I don't know what it is about him. It's just he is a fantastic footballer. I just don't know if I could warm them. I think it's his attitude. I don't know too much about anything from Everton inside of it, but it looks like his attitude stinks. If it's not going his way, he ain't trying. I don't know. I don't think I could warm them at United.
That's it, bath time. We need an absolute. Yeah, that's what we need. Yeah, we need. That's what I'm saying. We need that at United. And I think also with Richarlison, I know what you're saying about his attitude and everything else and temperament, but again, if look at Eric Cantona, for example.
Bring him back.
That's an example. Is he can be with the right environment, with the right type of football. I do believe players like Richarlison could slot into a team like us, especially in the position we're in right now, and actually shine. And I'm not saying for 3, 4, 5, whatever seasons, even if it's just like 2, 3 seasons, he does a number for us and helps us to propel us forwards and get us over that fence, of the nearly team, nearly there, nearly this, nearly, we just need that. And I think he would provide that. And what kind of value would you be placing on Richarlison right now from Everton if we're going to go in and get him?
Can I just say, I don't want to be talking about Richarlison because I don't want him. So I don't want to get into that negotiation about the price just yet.
Let me just go back to our spot of ball because we still need to get some numbers here. So we've had everybody in the panel has had their number. I've not picked my number yet, but I'm only joking.
Of course not. You know the answer.
Right? Do you not know the answer?
Yeah, I know the answer, bro. Anybody else in the chat who hasn't had a guess yet? This is your moment. Mr. B, I ain't seen the number from you, bro, so come on. Don't be shy. Don't cost anything, apart from when you swear. So just tell me which one of those numbers you think is the ball. All the panel have had their say. There's a few people in the comments who've had their say.
I said 2.
Yeah, that's it. Andre said 2. Thomas said 5. Steve Fletcher said...
I went with 1.
1.
I'm thinking of a dink.
And Vincent Bullock's gone 4. Okay. Bath Time says it's 5 if it's De Gea. Okay. There's no ifs or buts, Bath Time. Which number are you going for, bro? Let us know. Mr. B is going for number 4. Interesting. Very interesting. Box is going for 4 as well. Wow. Okay. Well, I don't know how much longer have we got on this show now, Mr. Sorry.
Well, I think it's the big reveal. I think we need the big reveal now.
Okay, then. All right, folks. Well, listen. I'll give you another 30 seconds to get anybody else get their numbers in, and then we'll see where we rock and roll with this.
Can you at least tell us who we're playing against here and what year was this? Because
I think it's 2014.
It's Swansea.
2014. That's Swansea, huh?
That's Wayne Routledge.
Yeah. Thomas got it right. When Thomas said it, I thought, oh crap.
That's a good shout.
That's FA Cup for a drawing, isn't it?
Bath times like tell us. Bath can't wait. So yeah, there's no more numbers coming in. So okay, then I will reveal. There's one person, only one person has got this right, and that is Steve Fletcher. It's number one.
Hey.
The ball has been chipped. He's chipped David De Gea and it's bounced. And that's just as the ball is bouncing up. That's where I've got it. I paused it right where the ball is bouncing up. And I thought,
I need to be on Steve's quiz team. He gets everything right. He's
well done,
He's got that juju jar. He's talking about.
So that's
pre-season peerless.
Yeah, we'll send you what are those things called that you used to buy from the post office? Oh, postal order. We'll send you a postal order in the post, Steve.
I can't believe he's the only one who got that right, but well done. Well done.
Yes.
There's no number 6. But anyway, guys, it's been a pleasure. I mean, we've gone through the whole team. Let me just clarify quickly, because from judging by this expert panels we have on here, it says defenders, we agreed roughly 2, although Thomas said maybe 3. I know Talk, you said 2 plus a right back as well. But we were talking about Lerd maybe coming in. So 2 to purchase, maybe 2 defenders. At the moment, we're looking at the gossip columns, it looks like it's going to be Timber and Pau Torres, who's a left-sided centre-back, and Timber can probably fill in at the right-back position and centre-back. For midfield, if we're playing midfield 3, we're talking about 2 players as well, majority of us were. That would be maybe Frankie de Jong and maybe another player, maybe Bruno, who's the guy from Wolves again? Neves. Or you threw in a few other names. Anyone say 3 midfielders? Anyone think we need more than that?
I said we need 3, but I think we definitely need 2. We could get away with 3 because you have to look at it in the way as well. There's a big possibility that Donny van de Beek just doesn't cut it in the Premier League because he wasn't rated at Everton either. So it's clearly not just a problem that all I had with him. So maybe it's just might not be right for him. You have to be ready for that as well. Although we do have Garner there as well, who might be ready if he's easing them in properly.
And regarding forwards or strikers, I think Matty, you said 2. I said 2. Anyone say 3?
No.
Ralph Ranrick said 2 as well. And I don't want to be hearing Ricardo's name. Please, he's not made that.
I'm not having it.
If we're being honest, though, this is what we think, and I think we're looking at probably 3, max 4 if we're lucky. So let's hope for the best.
We probably have to incorporate the youngsters as well. Do you think, just all you guys, just give me an answer. Do you think Erik ten Hag, he's had a great career at Ajax bringing through young players. Do you think he's going to do the same at Man United? Or do you think he'd be under pressure to perform and then start doing the old school thing or bringing ready-made players? Start with you, Thomas.
Okay.
Sorry.
I think he's definitely got the quality in the academy to do that. And he doesn't strike me as the kind of man that seems to fold under pressure. I think in the pressure situations, he's just going to go with what he thinks. He seems to be a guy that wants to stick to his way, and if you don't like that way, then go. Because I read as well at the time that he's got a one-strike policy. If you strike, you're out. So I definitely think he could get away with going through the academy. You look at that FA Youth Cup winning team. You've got Garnacho. I think he's going to be a star. Charlie McNeil looks to be a good player. He certainly couldn't be starters, but again, you could ease them in there. So you don't always have to go and buy superstars, but we can definitely get away with signing 4 or 5 players in the market, if even that, because you do have the backup of going into your youth academy. There is some big talent there.
You know, that's interesting what you say there. Sorry,
Yeah.
That's interesting what you say there, Thomas, because what we've got to also be aware of is that the way Erik ten Hag does like to do things, we have to give the youth coach and the coaching staff of the youth players enough time to get that message across to the youth players so they know what they're working with. They know what they've got to aspire to. So I think it'd be a bit unfair of us. And I'm sure Eric Ten Hag could, probably have the same kind of mindset, is that to just bring these players in and sort of say, right, yeah, here's your moment, go on. Oh, by the way, you've got one strike. We should, whoa, hold on a minute. You know what I mean? I think so I think it's going to be a slow process when it comes to the youth under Eric Ten Hag, but I think very successful.
Matty, do you think that Eric Ten Hag does feel under pressure to focus on the first team, or is he going to do like he did at Ajax and work with our youth and bring them in?
I think he'll work with youth and bring them in. That's what it's known for. It's down to what the expectation is from the board and how much time and support they're willing to give him. And that, if it's put out that he has to win a cup and get top 4, then he has to use established stars. If he's allowed a bit of leeway where he can finish maybe a 5th or a 6th, but develop some of the youth, bring in some players just to help them, some seasoned pros, and that, then I think he can get away with finishing a bit lower.
Interesting. Do you think there's pressure on him, Steve, to focus on first team and neglect the youths?
The thing is with us as fans is we've been spoilt right down the years. All of us have, those of us that have lived through the Fergie years and even before that, we'll remember that, we're a team that wins things. So as much as, because I am the kind of person that gives people time, I would have left Ollie until the end of the season just for the simple fact that the season was shot. But I worry about our fan base not giving him the time if we're not seeing results. Let's say, I don't know, by December we're sitting at 12th or even 15th, something like that. That our fan base, in the stands, I know they'll stick with him, but there's a lot of online toxicity that I think starts really early. And what I'm hopeful with Ten Hag is that he's strong enough and the board is strong enough to just go, do you know what? If we're not going to follow this through as a proper process and give this guy time, then we may as well just fire it to whoever's the flavour of the month every time that the new manager comes in. So I hope that he gets time to bed in the youth. I hope that he gets time from not only the board but the fan base to actually start doing what he's doing at Ajax, because the reality is the people at Ajax didn't like what they were seeing when they first started seeing it, and look at them now. They won, 4 out of the last 5. I think they would have won even more if it weren't for COVID. So give the guy his time and he'll start showing. I think it will start showing results.
All right. I think that's a wrap from us, guys. We've gone over an hour. We've really gone through fine detail, like a fine-tooth comb, through the squad and the ins and outs of what's going on at Manchester United. I really do appreciate some great contributions tonight. And it's your debut, Thomas. How do you feel about your debut and where can we find you, mate?
I really enjoyed that. Thank you for having me on. You can find me on, I'm on Instagram. It's Thomas Mitchell _7. And then my Twitter is Tommy Mitchell _7. And then you can find me on YouTube, although I've not uploaded anything there, but I certainly will. It's just Thomas Mitchell. And then I've got no idea what my TikTok is. I'm sure you'll find it somewhere on one of them.
TikTok.
I don't think I use that either.
Hey, I've got a TikTok account myself. Anyway, Matty, it was your debut, man. Great performance. Where can we find you? And what do you feel about your debut?
I think it could have gone better. You can find me on Twitter at Matthew363803881. Why they've given me them numbers, I'll never know. But if you want to see all the shorts I tweet about Man United, that's the place to go.
You need to change your name, bro. I can't even remember. I've already forgot it, bro. What was it? 6971.
Something like that, yeah.
Big up, bro.
I'm a follower of Matty already, and he does drop some gems. Man United views. I always keep my ear to the ground, and I go and check him out. Then I go and check out Romano afterwards. Fletch, welcome back. It's not your debut, but you're back. How do you feel? And where can we find you?
Yeah, good to be back. Great panel. It was really good debuts from you two guys, Thomas and Matthew. So, yeah, it's good to be back. And if you need to find me, I've had to put it on my name because it's a convoluted one to start trying to spell out. But I don't really tweet, so you might get a post from me once every blue moon.
Big up, bro.
TalkMU. I've seen some private chat. Any news? Like any other news? Any other business? I've heard something about Poch. Maybe who was dropping that one? Go on, let's hear it, guys.
Romano
Yeah.
has tweeted that. I'll pull up the tweet here actually because I had it a minute ago.
That's big news.
He worded it really fancy. Paris Saint-Germain are orientated, whatever the fuck that means. Pardon my language. To second Pochettino in the coming days. One more meeting is needed. It's down to Al Khelafi now, or however you say his name. Leonardo.
That sounds to me he's gone. He's already gone, in my opinion. Once you come out with those kind of terms, that's it. Poch is gone. And to be fair, let's have it right. It was always going to happen, wasn't it? Let's have it right. I mean,
I think that decision was made when they were not good at the Champions League. I think they just end the season. Same way you mentioned that we should have did with Foley. The season was done, so they just persisted with it. It's got Zidane's name wrote all over it now.
Yeah, definitely.
Agreed. That's how it's looking, isn't it? He was at the final, wasn't he? Getting this camera on him a few times. That says it all. Anyway, we don't hear talk about PSG. We got a new manager. We did get Poch. We got the main man, the most modern, the most sought after coach there is, and he's made a good impression on me. I don't know about you guys already since he's come into the club and how he speaks and how he carries himself. So long may it continue. It's going to be a long summer. Hopefully we get some more transfer news and hopefully see you guys again on the show. But as for now, we're out. We can say goodnight and enjoy the rest of your bank holiday weekend, peeps. Later.
Ciao.
See you all there.